Info Bull Cup. You're watching FS1.
Hey, Saturday afternoon in the Valley of the Sun. We've already seen our share of triple-degree days, so we're cool and comfortable inside in Phoenix. Game 3 of this 4-game series. 2 of the league's best matching up. It's the D-backs and the Nationals on FS1. Good afternoon from Chase Field, and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly along the way. Washington has won the first 2 games of this series, and the D-backs have scored a total of only 2 runs. And most of the offensive concern for Arizona, Bob, is about their all-star first baseman. It's been a slow month of May for Goldie.
It really has. For a guy whose average season throughout his career is a .296 average, 30 homers, 40 doubles, 20 stolen bases, 107 RBIs. These numbers are shocking to Diamondbacks fans. An .079 average in the month of May. He struck out 14 of his 38 at-bats. What's even more frightening is the National League knows he's going to snap out of it soon, and watch out then.
Only 3 for 38 in May. Steven Strasburg on the mound against the Diamondbacks here. They beat him in D.C. last month.
Yeah, they've seen him recently, and the Diamondbacks have seen a lot of really good pitching lately. Clayton Kershaw, Justin Verlander, saw Max Scherzer last night. Steven Strasburg, the latest ace to take the mound against the Diamondbacks.
D-backs and Nationals. First pitch is coming up on FS1. Today's broadcast of Major League Baseball is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the card today. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. Is brought to you by Chaz Roberts, Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. And by Jack in the Box. This season, D-backs home runs score free Jumbo Jacks only at Jack in the Box. Hot outside in Phoenix. We're downtown Phoenix. Troy Scribner and the Diamondbacks set to take on the Nationals. And the first pitch is coming up next. Over 500, only a game and a half behind the Braves for the NL East lead. Welcome in, Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, Kate Longworth along the way. 78 degrees, cool and comfortable inside Chase Field. Here's a look at Dave Martinez's Washington lineup. That's presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Pretty much the same way he lined them up last night, with the exception of the pitcher hitting 8th last night. It'll be Trey Turner leading off at shortstop, Bryce Harper out in right field, Anthony Rendon at third base, Big Matt Adams down at first base. Diamondback killer Howie Kendrick will be at second, with Andrew Stevenson in left field, Michael A. Taylor out in center, Pedro Severino doing the catching, and right-hander Steven Strasburg on the mound.
Your Ram truck starter for the D-backs is Troy Scribner, 26-year-old right-hander. A waiver claim from the Angels just over a month ago. He makes his D-backs debut here today. His only previous big league experience was with LA last season, 10 appearances and 4 starts.
Had a brother with the organization, Evan, pitched 7 years in the major leagues. He was a non-roster invitee by the Rays to spring training, but was cut loose in the middle of March. Troy taking the ball here against a Nationals team that looks like they're starting to show some signs of coming out of their offensive funk.
E.D. Marshall Jewelers, a look around the diamond at the D-backs defense.
Steven Souza Jr. out in right field. A.J. Pollock in center. David Peralta in left. It'll be Daniel Descalso and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Ketel Marte and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. John Ryan Murphy doing the catching today for right-hander Troy Scribner.
The shortstop Trey Turner leads it off, and we're underway in downtown Phoenix. A fastball's in there for strike one. Turner 273 and 4 homers. He hit a leadoff home run off Matt Cook here last night.
That's about top end right there for Troy Scribner. He'll occasionally touch 90, maybe 91 on a good day with a little tailwind, but generally pitches in the high 80s with that fastball, has a curveball and a changeup to go along with it.
Yeah, big test for Troy Scribner's stuff today. Can he get through this Washington lineup 3 times or somewhere close to that? He's the guy that the D-backs player development and minor league staff recommended for this start, and we'll see today if he can execute the game plan. Here's a deep drive to center. A.J. Pollock backing up under the home run porch, and he's got it just shy of the wall. Time now, Bob, for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Well, if Troy Scribner was a little nervous out there, that would be understandable. And under those circumstances, just develop tunnel vision. You and John Ryan Murphy. Get the pitch or get the sign from your catcher. Execute the pitch. Don't worry about the batters in the batter's box. Don't pitch to the baseball cards. Just throw to your catcher.
Well, it's easy to say that and then see Bryce Harper walk up.
True.
229. No player in the league has hit more home runs. And he leads the majors in walks. D-backs have the shift on. Missed with a changeup there. Harper has a pair of hits in the series. He doubled here last night. D-backs believe that Scribner's got 4 pitches he can throw at any time and any count. Did a good job at AAA Reno of spotting up his pitches, so he'll move it around up there. In, out, up, down against both right-handers and left-handers. And as we've seen, it's hardly an overpowering fastball, but he locates pretty well. Bryce Harper against the D-backs. .304 for his career. He's homered twice. That stays fair for Goldie. Scribner gets over there. 2 up, 2 down. That's got to be a big relief for this young man, Bob, just to get Bryce Harper out his first time.
Yeah, first time around. It was a good pitch, too. A fastball in the upper 80s on the inside corner. Kind of jammed Bryce Harper that time. Slow roller down to Goldie at first base. Once again, execute your pitches. That time he wanted to go in with a fastball. He got it in there far enough to take some of the sting out of the bat.
Third baseman Anthony Rendon. A home run here last night, his 3rd of the year. Washington won the opener 2-1. They won last night 3-1. Max Scherzer was electric last night. He struck out 11 Diamondbacks.
Yeah, Matt Cook maybe not quite as electric as Scherzer was, but equally effective. He was tiring in the 8th inning when Rendon hit the long home run to straightaway center field. The next 2 outs in that inning, Matt Adams and Andrew Stevenson, both long drives to right field.
And this was Rendon with 1 out in the 8th inning off Matt Cook.
Yeah, it was pretty apparent that Matt Cook was reaching the end of the line in that 8th inning. He gave up that home run and then 2 long fly ball outs before coming out of the ball game. But an outstanding performance by both starters last night.
Well, you can see how Scribner will attack these hitters. That 88-mile-an-hour fastball in, then the curveball down and away to the right-hander. Rendon ahead 2 balls and 1 strike. This is yanked foul down the left field line. Troy Scribner today filling the rotation spot for the injured Robbie Ray, who's out with an oblique strain. He spent most of last season as a starting pitcher at AAA Salt Lake City. Waived by the Angels, picked up by the Diamondbacks April 6th. He made 5 starts with their AAA club at Reno and went 2-1. Here's a fastball that misses low for Doug Eddings back there, and it's full 3-2. Matt Adams on deck.
Just looking at the early pitches from Troy Scribner, it appears that the straight changeup will be a more effective secondary pitch than the curveball. Curveball is pretty easily identified as soon as it leaves his hand. It has that upward arc before taking the break.
Missed with a fastball just a bit off the plate, down and away. A 2-out walk that'll bring up Big City Matt Adams. Tried to dot the corner with it and just missed. So a chance here for Adams. 284 and 10 home runs. Ketel Marte, the second baseman, way out there in short right field. Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, on the first base side, is second. Fastball up, it's 1-0. Adams 1 for 9 in the series. He had the game-winning hit here in Thursday's opener. An RBI single in the 11th inning.
And went the other way against the exaggerated pull shift. Just hit a ground ball into left field. They got through for an RBI knock.
There's the changeup that Bob was referring to. John Ryan Murphy back there. D-backs carrying 3 catchers on their roster. The Nationals lost one of theirs in this series. Matt Wieters pulled up with a hamstring injury in the opener on Thursday. He's been on the DL. They put Ryan Zimmerman on the DL before the game today. Activated Mark Reynolds, who's here. Here's the changeup. 2-1. 2-0 changeup from Scribner. Dave Martinez has his team playing very well. Only a game and a half off the pace in the NL East. They've won 12 of 16. That's the fastball. 2-2. When you've got an 87, 88 mile an hour fastball, the stuff, it better be good, and the location, I'm guessing, Bob, must be key.
Yeah, the location is the key to everything for Troy Scribner and pitchers like Troy Scribner. You know, 3-pitch assortment, but they all have to be around the edges and near the bottom of the zone.
Good block by Murphy on that curveball, and it's full 3-2.
Ryan Murphy and Jeff Mathis and Alex Avila, for that matter, all 3 of the Diamondbacks catchers have done an outstanding job this year, blocking pitches in the dirt, saving bases, saving runs.
Only got the first 2 batters. He's gone full on the last 2. This will get Rendon started from first. Missed with a changeup. Back-to-back 2-out walks. And here is D-back killer Howie Kendrick.
Kendrick's numbers for the season. However, here at Chase Field, this guy's a .422 lifetime hitter with 9 extra base hits in only 19 ball games.
Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, out to have a word, trying to avoid some early trouble here. Troy Scribner's previous start was last Thursday at El Paso. Gave up 3 runs, 6 hits, and 6. And he was scratched from his scheduled start in Reno on Wednesday, so we could take this one today, filling in for the injured Robbie Ray, who's out with that oblique problem. So he hasn't pitched in a few days. Rendon's at second, Adams at first, and 2 outs. There's a fastball, bottom of the zone, 0-1. Kendrick had the night off last night. He doubled in Thursday's series opener. A lifetime .329 hitter against the Diamondbacks. He was a big problem for the D-backs when he was an LA Dodger, Howie Kendrick. Just rifling one ball after another onto that right center field gap. 4 homers and just about .330, 46 games, so it's not a small sample size. There's a high fly ball to right center. Steven Souza Jr. drifting over there. And Troy Scribner strands those two 2-out walks. D-backs coming up against Steven Strasburg. Bottom first at Chase Field in downtown Phoenix, where your Ram truck starting pitcher for Washington is Steven Strasburg. 4-3, the ERA just a smidge over 3.5. Beaten by these D-backs late last month in Washington.
Well, if you're looking for reason for optimism, if you're a Diamondback fan, he has surrendered 8 home runs in 53 2/3 innings this year, but this is a guy with 3+ pitches, a fastball, curveball, changeup combination. He will throw a slider from time to time. When he's on top of his game, he can dominate.
David Peralta gets it started for Arizona. 302 and 7 homers. He homered here last night off Max Scherzer. 4 hits through the first 2 games of this series. This was Peralta last night to lead off the third.
Home run to right field against Max Scherzer. David Peralta has been among the best leadoff hitters in the National League. He leads, tied for the league lead in hits, second in extra base hits, first in RBIs out of that leadoff spot.
Yeah, Torey Lovullo will tell you that he impacts the game in so many ways from the leadoff spot. He's a tremendous base runner. He's got good power, as we just saw. And he handles left-handers pretty well.
And I'm not sure if the numbers would bear this out, but it seems like David has his best games and his best at-bats against the best pitchers.
He rolls that into right center field. The freight train will stop at first, a leadoff single. Here's the Diamondbacks lineup presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
David Peralta, the left fielder, leads it off with a base hit into center. Daniel Descalso will be down at third base. Paul Goldschmidt over at first. A.J. Pollock out in center field with Steven Souza Jr. in right. Ketel Marte at second base. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. John Ryan Murphy doing the catching for right-hander Troy Scribner.
Daniel Descalso in at third. 263 and 4 home runs. Peralta's a very good base runner, not a base stealing threat per se. He's only got 1 on the year. Steven Strasburg has won his last 2 starts. He struck out 11 Pirates in 7 innings on May the 2nd. His previous outing was Monday in San Diego. That began this Washington road trip. And again, he went 7 innings. Kept the Padres to 3 runs on 6 hits. His last loss came against these D-backs April 27th in D.C.
He's walked at least one batter in every outing, but never more than two.
That's impressive. But behind on Descalso, 2-0. Peralta holding it first, and Descalso knocks it into right. Peralta will stop at second, and they open up with base hits against Strasburg. Here's a look at Washington's defense. A look around the diamond provided by E.D. Marshall Jewelers.
Bryce Harper out in right field. Michael A. Taylor will be in center with Andrew Stevenson over in left field. Anthony Rendon at third base. Trey Turner at shortstop. Howie Kendrick will be playing second base with Matt Adams at first. Pedro Severino behind the plate for right-hander Steven Strasburg.
Paul Goldschmidt, 219 and 4 home runs. He singled last night. He's 1 for 9 in the series. All of Arizona waiting for the slump to subside. Goldie begins today tied with the Rockies' Trevor Story for the National League lead in strikeouts. He is only 3 for 38 in May.
And I'm sure right about now Goldie is getting suggestions from the mailman, from the guy at the deli, the guy that works down at the coffee shop.
Well, he will politely listen to all of them.
Yes, he will.
Trey Turner smothers that at shortstop. They'll get one. The force on Descalso. Peralta in at third.
Ball hit pretty hard toward that hole. Trey Turner does a nice job of getting to it. Howie Kendrick just ate that ball at second base. Looked like they might have had a shot at Goldie at first that time, but he elected to hold on to the ball. Diamondbacks have him on the corners.
And while Goldie's been slumping, A.J. Pollock has been the big bat in this lineup. 295 and 11 home runs. He's 4th in the league in OPS. Looking for his first base hit in the series. Runners on the corners and 1 out. That was interesting. First pitch.
Right in the wallet.
Right where you would put one if you were trying to send a message to someone. Here's Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach, as Steven Souza Jr. steps up with the bases full.
Not aware of any history between those two guys.
You know, I was just looking back at the box score from the previous game when the D-backs beat Strasburg, and AJ homered off him in the first at bat.
Yeah, 3 for 3 this season, 5 for 9 career against Strasburg. That may have had something to do with it.
Peralta's at third, Goldschmidt at second, and Pollock at first. Souza 3 for 21 to start his D-backs career. He missed the first month of the season. Starts him off with a slider. 1 career grand slam for Steven Souza Jr. This is a situation in which, Bob, the Diamondbacks have struggled mightily trying to get base runners home. It's been slow going. They've scored 2 runs in the first 2 games of this series.
Which is something they were doing extremely well in the early part of the season. They were hitting for a low average as a team, but with runners in scoring position, they were hitting nearly 280 through the first month of the season. Those numbers have really fallen off.
0-2. That one rolls away. Peralta will stay put, not far away enough from Severino.
Well, this particular situation, a runner at third base and less than 2 outs. League average is 50%. You're going to score that guy 50% of the time. The Diamondbacks have scored the guy from third with less than 2 outs only 37% of the time. Worst in the National League.
They've just not been able to get the big hit and put up crooked numbers this year. A lot of single run innings. 1-2. This is in the air, short right. Harper coming in. Peralta's at third, and he'll stay there. So it's up to Ketel Marte. Marte has a pair of hits in this series. He tripled off Max Scherzer last night. 219 on the year with 1 home run. Bases full and 2 outs. Fastball's right there. Doug Eddings says strike 1. Not sure what Ketel is so upset about. That was a good pitch.
I think it was because the catcher didn't make it look real good. It was a strike. It was clearly in the strike zone, but he kind of pushed it below the bottom of the zone as he received that pitch.
And then dots the corner with a curveball. D-backs in the ball game against Scherzer last night had second and third, no outs in the first inning, and could not get a run home. And here they are, bases loaded in the first, less than 24 hours later, and once again they're struggling to score runs. Boy, Strasburg is a handful. 96-mile-an-hour average fastball with that 4-seamer. Mixes in the curveball and changeup. You'll see the occasional slider. When he's ahead in the count like this, that's when you'll most often see that breaking pitch, the off-speed pitch, as an out pitch for him. That was a hard changeup. Went to the curveball. Steven Strasburg leaves them loaded. No score at Chase Field.
Welcome back. I'm Kate Longworth. No score as we head to the second with Troy Scribner making his Arizona debut. Diamondbacks pitching coach Mike Butcher told me that he's the right guy at the right time, citing the fact that he has 4 quality pitches he's able to mix in to keep guys off balance. He also said he has a good awareness for reading hitters, and both Butcher and Torrey big fans of the fact that the 26-year-old is able to execute a game plan while staying composed out on the mound.
Thanks, Kate. Yeah, they like the makeup of this young man. All their minor league people, their player development people said, oh, Troy Scribner's your best bet to win a ball game here. So he gets the baseball. Andrew Stevenson leads off the Nationals second.
I mentioned the key to the game today for Troy Scribner was to have tunnel vision. Just focus in on John Ryan Murphy and whatever pitch he calls for, try to execute it to the best of your ability. And you know Mike Butcher and Torey Lovullo and John Ryan Murphy, Jeff Mathis was probably involved. Had a very detailed meeting to go over all these hitters today, but when you leave the meeting you want the pitcher to forget everything and just throw what the catcher calls where he calls for it.
John Ryan Murphy back there today. Good slow curveball, and Scribner gets his first strikeout. That'll bring up Michael A. Taylor. Taylor, the center fielder, 190 and 3 homers. He's doubled in each of the first 2 games of this series. As Washington continues to play without former D-back Adam Eaton. Taylor holding down center field. Eaton continues to miss most of his time with Washington since he was picked up from the White Sox. On Thursday, he had arthroscopic surgery on his left ankle. He's been out since April 8th. And went to the 60-day DL, so he'll be out for a while longer. 0-2 on Taylor. Eaton missed almost all of last year with a torn ACL in his left knee. Comes in with a fastball. That's about the most Scribner's got, 88.
And that's a great location for a guy that's not overpowering and doesn't really have a lot of margin for error missing his spots. You've got to keep hitters honest.
Another fastball there. D-backs originally tried veteran Chris Medlin in Robbie Ray's rotation spot after Ray was injured at the end of April. Coincidentally, not ironically, at Washington. Medlin's start last week against Houston did not go well. He gave up 7 runs in 4 innings. Here's Robbie Ray, an all-star in the National League last year. So when Medlin flamed out, they went to Braden Shipley, a former first-round pick, to fill the spot, but Braden turned up with elbow inflammation, so now they've turned to Troy Scribner. Floated a slider up there, gets his second strikeout.
Well, probably not the location he was looking for, but got a great result. Shoulder high slider up there above the top of the zone, and Michael A. Taylor comes up empty that time.
Pedro Severino, the catcher today. 266. He's hit safely in 3 straight. There's that curveball again. He steals strike 1. Severino took over behind the plate in the second inning here Thursday night. Matt Wieters went down with an injury, rounding first base on a base hit. And Wieters yesterday went on the DL, a left hamstring strain. He'll be reevaluated when they get back home to D.C. Spencer Keyboom was brought up from AAA to back up Severino. Scribner's got a lot of faith in that curveball. He likes that pitch a lot. And we've seen it a bunch here so far.
I know you remember the name partner Scott Sanderson.
Oh sure, former Cub.
Yeah, former Cub, and he used to get mad at me all the time because I said he pitched backwards. He didn't have an overpowering fastball, so he would throw a lot of slow curves, a lot of sliders, a lot of changeups, and when he threw his 87 or 88 mile an hour fastball, it looked like it was 100.
Well, he's got a chance to strike out the side in the second. 2-2 on Severino with 2 outs.
If you can use your off-speed deliveries effectively enough to jump ahead in the count, that's going to make that fastball look even better.
That fastball missed there. 89. The pitcher Strasburg on deck. Full count on Severino. 3-2. Scribner trying to strike out the side. Bounced a changeup up there. His 3rd walk, and the Nationals will clear the pitcher spot. First 2 games of this series, Dave Martinez batted his pitcher 8th. But with the way this lineup is constructed, not really a speed guy to slide into that 9 spot, so that's where Strasburg hits today. Slider missed. 1-0. This is how Scribner worked himself into trouble in the first inning. He got the first 2 batters, Turner and Harper, and walked Rendon and Adams before Kendrick flied out to strand 2. Now he's behind on the pitcher. 2-0. Too many pitches. TMP. Fastball up that time. Scribner likes to go to that curveball a lot, but he's got a pretty good changeup as well. So we'll see what they favor here. Trey Turner would be next, the leadoff man. That fastball sailed on him. And just like the first inning, he gets 2 outs and then goes full count on the next 2 hitters. Goldie will play behind Severino, the runner at first. 3-2 to Strasburg. On the ground to Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Well, the first time through the order, scoreless baseball for Troy Scribner. We're in Phoenix, the D-backs and the Nationals on FS1. No score. This summer, the World Cup is coming to Fox and FS1. Every match live. Over 300 hours of World Cup coverage. It's the world's biggest sporting event. And it starts June 14th on Fox and FS1. Troy Scribner making his D-backs debut against Steven Strasburg for the Nationals. And Nick Ahmed will lead off the Arizona second. Washington won the first 2 games of this 4-game set. They won Thursday 2-1. They won here last night 3-1 behind Max Scherzer, who struck out 11. Scherzer wiggled off the hook, a bases loaded jam in the first to keep it scoreless, and now here's Ahmed to lead off the second. Nick 0 for 8 in the series, hitting .213. He's got surprising power, 6 home runs.
And he's been looking to hit more home runs this year. Not that he's trying to hit home runs, but his swing path through the strike zone. He's a strong kid, big long arms, long legs, using that leverage this year to try to get the ball in the air a little more often.
Ahmed earlier this week at Dodger Stadium hit a ball off the top of the center field fence in dead center, ran all the way around for an inside the park home run. Just the 15th inside the park homer in D-backs history. Oh, 0-2.
And so many times in the early part of the season when the Diamondbacks were rolling, a lot of their offensive rallies started at the bottom of the order. 7-hitter, 8-hitter. Sometimes the pitcher got involved, get on base, and then roll around to the top. Right about now, they'll take production from anywhere in the lineup.
It's been slow going for this D-backs offense. They've lost 3 in a row. Only 4 wins in 10 games this month, but still holding on to the National League's best record. Strasburg goes to that hard changeup, gets his second strikeout.
Well, a lot of the better pitchers in the game are going to that harder changeup. It used to be you wanted a 10-mile-an-hour difference between your fastball and your changeup, or thereabouts. Boy, now we see guys throwing changeups that are only a couple of miles an hour off of their fastball.
And Zach Greinke's a great example of that. Here's the catcher, John Ryan Murphy. 250 and 3 home runs. First pitch curveball. Greinke's always saying that for him, the changeup is not so much a velocity or off-speed pitch, it's more of a movement pitch. Missed with a fastball, and it's 1-1. That looked like a pretty good curveball. Doug Eddings didn't like it. And now it's 2-1. When Strasburg, as we mentioned, is ahead in the count, that's when you'll see the curveball, the changeup. When he's behind, most often he's going to come at you aggressively with that hard fastball. But there are no such thing as fastball counts in the big leagues anymore, and sure enough, there's a slider. The days of the 2-0 fastball, the 2-1 fastball, 3-1, those days are long gone, it seems.
Well, there's still a few pitchers in the game that look forward to that challenge. Okay, 2-0, 3-1. I'm going to throw you my best fastball, see what you can do with it. But those guys are becoming more and more rare.
Max Scherzer wasn't messing around last night. 11 strikeouts, no walks. He won his 7th. Dots the fastball down and away, and Strasburg struck out 3 in a row.
Hey fans, a D-Bucks home run today means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Well, here is the pitcher, Troy Scribner. His D-backs debut today, a waiver claim from the Angels just about a month ago. He was waived by LA in the first week of April, picked up by the D-backs. There's that Strasburg curveball. And he's got a chance to strike out the side. There it is. High heat. Strasburg gets the side in the second. He struck out 4 in a row. We head to the third in Phoenix. No score.
Half of the third inning, no score on this day in baseball history. Back in 1998, Mark Grace becomes the first player to homer into the pool in right center field. Then Bank One Ballpark, now Chase Field. Of course, Grace is our guy now.
And a few years later, he helped you win a World Series.
Yeah, we saw him hit that ball in the pool and thought he was going to do it with regularity. That's the only one he ever hit in the pool as a member of the Cubs.
Grace,
but we still love him.
He is still an enormously popular D-backs figure here, part of that 2001 World Series championship club managed by my partner Bob Brenly. Gracie working D-backs TV here for Fox Sports Arizona. Trey Turner leads off the Washington third against Troy Scribner in his Diamondback debut. Scribner so far has walked 3, struck out 2. He's yet to give up a base hit. Turner flying out to center to lead off the ball game. There's that curveball. Certainly looks like the curveball and the changeup are his 2 best pitches. Turner knocks it into center, and there's the first Washington hit. That'll bring up Bryce Harper. You got to keep an eye on Turner. 12 stolen bases this year. He's only been caught once. 50 pitches already for Scribner, only 28 strikes. Harper grounded out to first base his first time up. Boy, that batting average. I know the home runs are there, obviously 12, but 227. Who would have thought that on May the 12th, Bryce Harper would be hitting 227 and Goldie would be hitting 219.
Not me.
Not anybody. But that's where we are.
That's a terrifying thought for National League pitchers because, as I mentioned earlier, you know Goldie and Bryce Harper are going to get their numbers where they usually are. They've had a track record. They've established the kind of players they are at this level and the kind of numbers they're capable of putting up. And I think we'll see both guys near their career numbers.
Harper showing bunt, trying to bunt maybe away from the shift. Descalso, the third baseman's the only guy over there. And now, as the D-backs often do in 2 strike counts, they'll switch up the shortstop and the third baseman. Ahmed moves over to his normal spot. Harper down 0-2.
Of course, Nick Ahmed with the better range between Descalso and Nick, and you want the best range to cover that entire left side of the field.
Harper ropes one down the line. That's headed for the corner, and Turner's on the run. He's got tremendous speed. He's being waved around. Here's the relay. It's offline. An RBI double for Harper, and it's 1-0 Nationals.
Trey Turner singled on an 0-2 fastball. Bryce Harper on an 0-2 pitch doubles down into the right field corner. Just not executing those pitches when the count's in his favor. That's when you can really expand the zone and hope to get a chase strike, but a little bit too good on the 0-2 pitches.
So a single and a double open up the Washington third. Here's Anthony Rendon, who walked his first time up. Rendon has 2 home runs in his last 3 games. He homered in San Diego earlier this week on the first stop of this latest Nationals trip out west. It's their second one this year. He's only been back in the lineup for 1 week. He missed about 20 games with a bad bruise on his foot. You see that foot protector he's got up there on his left foot. He fouled the ball off his left big toe last month. That's the captain of the toes. And it's pretty well protected.
Yeah, they've kind of modified that ankle foot guard that he's wearing with an extension that covers that injured left big toe. The captain.
Fastballs upstairs, 2-1. Troy Scribner walked 3 but did not give up a base hit his first time through the lineup. He's hit some bumps in the road right away the second time through. Swing and a miss on the slider, and it's 2-2. Matt Adams, who walked his first time up, is the on-deck hitter. Troy Scribner is from Washington Depot, Connecticut. He's a New Englander. And he played collegiately at nearby Sacred Heart, where former Mets manager Bobby Valentine has been the athletic director for a while now. And Scribner was not drafted coming out of Sacred Heart. Signed with Houston before he was sold to the Angels. Waived last month, picked up by the D-backs. It's a tapper over the mound. Ahmed behind the bag, and they're able to retire Rendon as Harper stays put. He was like you when you called up to find out if you'd been drafted. You are free to negotiate with any team you'd like.
Mr. Brindley, you can negotiate with any team you'd like.
Which I think is a very nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
No, nobody drafted you.
No, nobody drafted you. Did you think they were going to draft you?
No. Enough to call. Here's Matt Adams. But back in the day, you had to call up, didn't you? There was no TV coverage of the draft or anything.
It was a few years before the internet.
On the WWW?
A few years before the telephone. So, yeah, I mean, you had no way of knowing stuff until like a month after it happened.
Just send a Raven or something. Find some news somehow. Shift is on against Matt Adams. So how did you find out?
Well, I went to my college coach for some advice, and he said, well, just call the MLB headquarters and ask them. Well, it took a while to find the phone number because, once again, we had no internet. But was able to track down the phone number for the MLB offices. Got a very nice lady, a receptionist, answered the phone. I told her who I was, where I went to school, and I was just calling to see if I had been drafted. 1 second. It was a little bit of a delay, and she came back on the line. Mr. Brenly, you are free to negotiate with any team you'd like, which is, as you said, a nice way of saying you did not get drafted.
Well, it worked out nicely for you and the Giants.
Yes, it did.
2-1 on Matt Adams.
I should have asked her, do the other teams realize this, that I'm out there, anybody can have me? But it wasn't her fault.
They just didn't have your number. That was the problem. There was no internet. You can't draft them. We don't have a phone number for that guy. Howie Kendrick on deck. Well, you got to be careful with Matt Adams. That one hit the screen in front of the Nationals dugout. Adams, in 11 games this month, has 7 home runs and 15 RBIs. And he has given a ton of credit to their new hitting coach, Kevin Long. New for him. He's opened up that stance a little bit, says he sees the ball a whole lot better. Hard to argue with the results, certainly. Adams, the former St. Louis Cardinal, traded to Atlanta last May. Nationals were looking for a backup first baseman. They had a 1-year, $4 million deal sitting there. They tried Adam Lind, and he said no, so they turned to Matt Adams. And boy, it's been a tremendous find. There's Chip Hale, the bench coach, former D-backs manager. And Adams, since April 24th, is hitting better than .350. He's got Harper at second. 1 out, full count, 3-2. Near the line, Peralta, the freight train on the run. He won't get there. Awfully long way to go against the left-hand hitter up there.
Especially shading him a couple steps over into the gap in left center. With that pull shift on, nobody could get there. That ball was out there in that Bermuda Triangle. Shortstop, third baseman, left fielder. I don't think anybody could get to that one.
Still 3-2 on Matt Adams. Scribner approaching 70 pitches already with 1 out in the third. D-backs bullpen is in pretty good shape. Matt Cook worked 8 innings here last night. They've got the left-hander TJ McFarland back there, rested and ready, so he can give Torey Lovullo some length in that pen if need be. McFarland has been outstanding in that regard for the D-backs this year. So they're not too worried about Scribner giving them some length.
67 pitches already here in the third inning. He's had 5 full counts of the 13 hitters he's faced.
Trying a fastball away. That's his 4th base on balls. And here comes Howie Kendrick. Kendrick flied out with 2 on and 2 out to end the first. He's 0 for 1. Base hit. Bob Henley stops Harper at third. The bases are loaded. Here's Torey Lovullo, last year's National League Manager of the Year. His D-backs won 93 games. Beat the Rockies in the wild card game here at Chase Field before they were swept by LA in the division series. Andrew Stevenson, the left fielder, struck out his first time up. Bases full, 1 out. There's that changeup. That pitch has looked pretty good for Scribner today. Bryce Harper is the runner at third. Matt Adams at second base and Howie Kendrick at first. Doubled up on the change. He's ahead 0-2. I think that's the pitch that when Scribner is in trouble, they'd like him to go with. And how a pitcher executes a game plan that's been drawn up for him is a big priority with the D-backs. And there's another one. 3 changeups and Stevenson strikes out.
You're going to get a look at all 3 of those changeups to Andrew Stevenson. Yeah, first one starts up a little higher in the zone. That one ends up in the dirt and then just fades it off the outside corner at 78 miles an hour. Really good arm speed right there. Really sold those pitches.
Nationwide Vision Center giving us an eye on the game. Here's Michael A. Taylor, who struck out his first time. Bases full, 2 down. First pitch fastball right there on the corners, down and away, 0-1. Taylor, although he's hit safely in 3 straight games, has struggled badly for most of this month. He is 4 for 39 in May. But he has doubled in each of the first 2 games of this series. Ooh, that was a good curveball there. Doug Eddings didn't bite. It's 1-1. It's amazing because those breaking balls sometimes start out so high, how rarely you'll get that strike call from the umpire.
Yeah, a high strike from a breaking ball that was above the strike zone its entire path to home plate. You rarely get the call on that pitch.
John Ryan Murphy will burn a mound visit here. Ahmed in from shortstop.
Well, we know the Diamondbacks use a very complicated set of signs with the runner at second base that they can change on the fly, but not sure how up to speed Troy Scribner is with those signs. So John Ryan Murphy didn't want to take any chances. Calls in the shortstop Nick Ahmed. They go over the signs they're going to use with that runner at second base and move forward.
This feels like, Bob, an enormous at bat in the game for Troy Scribner. If he can leave him loaded here, keep it 1-0, that'll be a big gold star in his favor. 1-1 on Michael A. Taylor. Went with a slider there, a ball and 2 strikes. Turner led off the third with a single, the Nationals' first hit. Harper followed with an RBI double. He's at third. Adams walked. He's at second. Kendrick single puts him at first. Here's the 1-2. Called strike 3. Big pitch there for Troy Scribner. He leaves them loaded, but the Nationals take a 1-0 lead. D-backs 1-0 in the third. You can participate in our D-backs 50-50 charity raffle brought to you by the Arizona Lottery. Right there from home along with all of us here at the ballpark. Your chance to win half the pot and help kids in our Arizona community. Tickets can be purchased online during every D-backs home game on Fox Sports Arizona at dbacks.com/5050 raffle, and stay tuned for the winning number on the Diamondbacks live postgame show. David Peralta, who singled to lead off the ball game, leads off the third against Steven Strasburg. Curveball low, but Strasburg gets the call. It's 1-1. Peralta this year hitting about .330 versus right-hand pitchers. Yanks that one just fouled down the first base line. He homered here last night against Max Scherzer. D-backs offensive woes have been the ongoing storyline here in the Valley with this first place ball club. They've scored more than 4 runs only twice in their last 13 games. Just 4 and 6 here in May. But still 10 over 500 for the year, the best record in the National League.
And you alluded to this earlier, partner. The Diamondbacks have scored in 101 innings this year. However, 63 of those were just 1-run innings. They haven't had the big crooked numbers. They haven't scored more than 6 runs in a game all season. They've scored 5 runs twice, 4 runs twice.
And of course they've been without Jake Lamb, their all-star third baseman, virtually the entire year. They think he'll be back next week. There's a good chance. Descalso's done a good job filling in. They missed Souza for the first month. He just came back about a week or so ago. And Goldie is in this horrific slump. So it's been Peralta, it's been Pollock, it's been Descalso. These 3 guys have primarily carried the offensive load.
And the pitching has been able to make it stand up. And we talked about David Peralta earlier, one of the best leadoff hitters nobody knows. First in hits among National Leaguers, second in extra base hits, first in RBI out of that leadoff spot.
2-2. Tried to check on that breaking ball, but Strasburg gets his 5th strikeout. He has now struck out 5 consecutive batters.
Strasburg throws one of those hard curveballs in the mid-80s. That one down in the dirt. David couldn't check.
Descalso singled his first time up. Descalso has been a big contributor, playing all over the field, mostly at third. Mentioned they've been out without Jake Lamb. He's had shoulder and elbow problems. He's played only 4 games all year. And while Lamb has been out, Descalso has come up with, it seems like, with one big hit after another. Sliders in there for a strike.
Boy, between Daniel Descalso and Devin Marrero, defensively, third base has been in really good hands in the absence of Jake Lamb.
There's Devin Marrero, picked up from Boston last month. Here's a roller to second for Kendrick. 2 outs.
Well, that being said, it's pretty tough to replace what Jake Lamb brings to an offensive lineup, that left-handed power bat.
And he's a 30-homer, 100 RBI guy last year. And there's no way to replace 44 here. Trying to get it going. Reached on a fielder's choice his last time up. He's 1 for 10 in the series. It was interesting to listen to Paul Goldschmidt after the game last night. And as he always does, he answers every question. But he was pretty frank. Look, it's pretty obvious that he said he's gone out there, hasn't performed, but all he can do is just try to have good at bats, hit the ball hard. Just hasn't happened yet. But he realizes that things have sort of become a burden here, not only for his teammates, but for his manager, Torey Lovullo, as well, having to answer all those questions. And that's the part that really bugs Goldie. It's the last thing he ever wants to be and ever has been is a burden to some of his teammates. But we've had guys, as we've mentioned, who picked up the offensive load.
And that's just the nature of the beast when your superstar player who has a tremendous track record of being an offensive juggernaut goes in the tank the way Goldie has. It's going to raise eyebrows and it's going to raise questions.
And everybody's wondering what's happening. It's not that he's chasing a ton of pitches outside the strike zone. You see that occasionally, but it's more like he's swinging and missing in pitches that he normally just crushes. Fastballs right down the middle of the plate, swing and a miss. And you see the slugging percentage there, just not been what they're used to. Try to dot the fastball, miss the corner. It's 2-2. But Goldie feels bad. His lack of production is wearing on other guys. Wears on the manager. He's got to deal with it. And it's one thing, he says, if he's got to deal with it, it's another when it affects his teammates. And it seems like sometimes Bob Goldie has been passive when he needs to be aggressive and maybe over aggressive when he needs to pull back a little bit. It just seems like he's in between all the time.
That's what happens when you're in a slump. You just can't find the timing. You can't find the rhythm of your swing so that you're in sync as that pitcher's delivering the ball. You're in a good hitting position.
Spiked a changeup, and Goldie gets the first base on balls issued by Strasburg. Well, this was interesting. Last time the Diamondbacks saw Steven Strasburg was last month at Nationals Park, and AJ Pollock had a big day against Strasburg. He homered his first time up, then a single and a triple, and first pitch today takes one right in the wallet. Just saying, it's a little bit of a coincidence. Or not.
A little reminiscent of Junior Spivey and Greg Maddux back in the day. I think Junior Spivey had hits in his first 6 at bats against Greg Maddux, and his 7th at bat he got one right between the numbers. And Greg Maddux could throw the ball wherever he wanted, whenever he wanted.
It just slipped, that's all.
Yeah.
Fastballs in there. Well, the rest of the league has been looking for something to slow down AJ Pollock. He was April's National League Player of the Month. And he followed that by winning Player of the Week honors the first week in May. AJ with 20 RBIs in his last 21 games. And during that stretch, he's hitting better than .320. Changeup. There's that hard changeup from Strasburg. Upper 80s velocity. 50 pitches so far, 32 for strikes. Just got a piece of that breaking ball to stay alive.
It's one thing to look at the numbers, but if you have been watching AJ Pollock throughout the first month plus a week or so of the season, he passes the eye test too. I mean, he's looked locked in. He's looked hungry in his at-bats. He's taken very aggressive swings. It's a thing of beauty when professional athlete feels like they're on top of their game and everything is clicking. Fun to watch.
He's been the primary cleanup hitter most of the year. A guy who could just as easily lead off with his speed. Fastball off the plate, and it's 2-2. It's always been the question about AJ Pollock, as he's a terrific base stealer. See Steven Souza Jr. on deck. You could bat AJ first, you could bat him fourth like they have most of the year. You could hit anywhere in the lineup, really. Is he better served as a leadoff man, base stealer type, or a run producer in the middle of the order?
I think it depends on the personnel around him. And right now, with Jake Lamb gone and Steven Souza just returning from the disabled list, A.J. Pollock was the most logical candidate to hit behind Goldie.
Well, Strasburg had retired 7 straight. He walked Goldie. Now he's gone full on Pollock 3-2 with Souza on deck. Adams will still hold Goldschmidt on the bag over there at first. Here it is on 3-2. There goes Goldie. And Pollock drives it to left center field. That's going to reach the wall. Goldie's on the run. He's on his way in. A.J. Pollock, an RBI double, and we're tied at 1.
Slider right in the middle of the plate for A.J. Pollock. I mean, a lot of his success this year is because he's a very gifted athlete. He's got great hand-eye coordination, tremendous speed. But I think A.J.'s doing more homework this year on opposing pitchers and what they're likely to throw him in certain situations. We've seen him sit on breaking balls in certain counts.
I got one for you. In his last 5 at-bats, A.J. Pollock has hit for the cycle against Steven Strasburg. Home run, single, triple, hit by pitch, double. Here's Souza. He flied out his first time up. Goldie at second, 2 outs, a run is in. Jumped on a first pitch fastball and fouled it back, 0-1. Steven Souza Jr. acquired from Tampa Bay in the offseason, part of a 3-team deal with the Yankees. He missed the first 30 games this year, a strained right pectoral muscle, trying to make a diving catch in spring training. He didn't make his D-backs debut until May the 3rd. Expected to be a big bat in this lineup, trying to replace J.D. Martinez, who was beyond sensational here last year. He got the big free agent payday in Boston. Curveball against the strike, and it's 1-2. This is lifted to right center. Taylor and Harper over there. Michael A. Taylor. A.J. Pollock's RBI double ties the game at 1. Inside Chase Field, downtown Phoenix. D-backs and Nationals tied at 1. Hey fans, Tuesday night on FS1, the Cardinals battle Brian Dozier and the Minnesota Twins. Coverage starts 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, or you can stream it live on Fox Sports Go. A.J. Pollock's RBI double gets the equalizer for Troy Scribner in his D-backs debut. 1-1 ball game as Pedro Severino, the Nationals catcher, leads off the 4th. Severino walked his first time up. He's got 2 hits in the series. Had a double here Thursday night. Loaded that curveball up there at 67. Severino knocks it into left, a leadoff single.
Hey fans, watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand at your home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
There's Strasburg, the pitcher, grounded out his first time. Squares to bunt. Here comes the corners, pops it up. Murphy's under it, and he's got it. Well, that didn't go as planned.
Well, maybe not for the Nationals, but the Diamondbacks are digging it.
It's good bunt defense right there. Here's Turner, who singled and scored his last time up.
Strasburg's actually usually a pretty good bunter. He's put down 3 sack bunts this season already, but popped that one in the air.
Turner singled to lead off the 3rd, came home on Bryce Harper's RBI double. Nationals had a bases loaded threat in that 3rd inning. Scribner got a couple of big strikeouts, gave up only the 1 run. He has labored so far. He's doing what he can to mix things up. Slider, changeup, curveball. Turner's going to need a new bat now. Troy Scribner's older brother Evan is here today. He worked 7 seasons in the majors as a reliever. He was with the Padres, the A's, and the Mariners. And Evan Scribner was originally drafted out of Central Connecticut State by the D-backs. That was back in 07, a 28th round pick. And he was traded to San Diego a year after that for Tony Clark, who is now head of the Players Union. So that's 6 degrees of a collective bargaining agreement or something. I bet Bobby V is watching this game back home in Fairfield, Connecticut, the Sacred Heart athletic director. Troy Scribner is the only Sacred Heart alum ever to pitch in the major leagues. Of course, you know what they say about Sacred Heart. It's like the Yale of Western Connecticut.
Really?
Wait.
I'll take your word for it.
That didn't work. 2-2.
Bobby V's probably busy today anyway. There's a cross-country meet or girls volleyball or something he's got to be at, right? If he's the athletic director.
Well, he's out there and he does other stuff in the town too. He runs the snow plows. He works with the whole maintenance crews there, fixing the roads, doing all kinds of stuff out there. 3-2. Well, that's the 5th walk issued by Scribner. And the Nationals here have 2 on and 1 out for Bryce Harper. Mike Fetters, the bullpen coach, on the phone. Harper knocked in the Nationals' first run here in the 3rd.
Came on an 0-2 pitch, just left it up and out over the plate, and Bryce Harper, we know from past experience, can cover that outside part of the plate and hook that one back to right field for an RBI double.
Well, Scribner was up to the challenge when he struck out Stevenson and Taylor with the bases full in the 3rd. And now a tall order again here in the fourth. First pitch fastball. Dave Martinez has tried Bryce Harper in a few different spots in this lineup. He hit third for the first month of the year. And then when the calendar turned, Harper spent the first 9 games in May leading off. Now he did homer 4 times in that spot, but he hit just 184 batting leadoff, only walked twice. And so last night Harper was plugged into the 2-hole for the first time all year, and he's back in there again today. Another fastball misses in, 1-1. Severino, the catcher, is the runner at second. Trey Turner with terrific speed at first.
Like a sports car following a semi truck.
Got a base clogger out there. Boy, Harper rips that one foul. And how about that play by Doc Rosenblatt, our Golden Glover down there? That's a tremendous play. Sid Doc Rosenblatt. That's a big league play right there.
Boy, I tell you, you check the metrics on ball dudes around the major leagues, and then Doc's going to be right at the top of the list. He can cover a lot of ground, soft hands, strong arm.
It's all in there in the scouting report.
Can't hit a lick.
So he's got a glove on. 1-2. Boy, sticking with fastballs here in this AB against Harper. Scribner now over 90 pitches, trying to get through 4. A left-hander, Jorge De La Rosa, starting to get loose in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. One of the best in the business at stranding inherited base runners. Bounced that changeup up there. Boy, he thought he had him set up for that changeup after all those fastballs.
And he might have had him set up for a changeup, but it's got to be a little closer to the strike zone than that. That one bounced well out in front. You're not going to fool too many hitters on that particular pitch.
Tell you what, Troy Scribner, it's not like he's a rookie in his major league debut. He made 10 appearances with the Angels last year, 4 starts, but he's had a pretty good mound presence out there. Doesn't seem uncomfortable or intimidated at all. 2-2 on Bryce Harper. He tried to drop that slow curve in there, and now it's full 3-2. Rendon would be next. He went to 3-2 on Turner and lost him. He's walked 5. He's got 4 strikeouts. Missed away with a fastball, and again Scribner's in a 1-out bases loaded mess. Same thing happened in the 3rd. That's when he struck out Stevenson and Taylor to end the threat, keep it a 1-0 game. He's walked 6. Here's Rendon.
Walking that high wire, putting runners on base this time ahead of the 3, 4, 5 hitters in this Nationals lineup. You need to execute some really good pitches right here to Rendon.
And you've got good speed there, second and first. Anything in the gap could score 3 runs here without too much trouble. Rendon has walked and grounded out 0 for 1. Gets a fastball under the chin. Rendon homered here last night. He's got 2 career grand slams. A home run in the 8th inning off Matt Cook. That one trickles foul, 1-1. "96 pitches. It usually takes Jorge De La Rosa, a longtime starting pitcher, a while to warm up. But you got to believe he's getting ready for Matt Adams, who's on deck. 1-1. Well, Troy Scribner was able to pull a rabbit out of the hat in the third. He's ahead of Rendon here with a 1 out, 1-2. There is Jorge De La Rosa. Longtime Colorado Rocky starting pitcher, his second year as a D-back reliever. And he's been a good one. Here's the 1-2. Ahmed smothers it. They get one. And that's it. Severino's home.
A nice play just to get to that ball for Nick Ahmed. A diving stop. The underhand toss on to Marte, who unleashes a throw to first base, but Rendon busting it down that first base line. Looked like he was able to beat it.
Here comes Torey Lovullo. He's got his lefty ready. And we'll see Jorge De La Rosa. Troy Scribner in his D-backs debut leaves in the fourth, trailing 2-1.
A couple outs. Hey, fans, a day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
The left-hander Jorge De La Rosa. He was the best reliever in baseball last year when it came to stranding inherited runners. He's got runners on the corners, 2 outs, and he's in there against Matt Adams, who has walked twice. Adams this year 4 for 13 versus lefties, including a double and a home run. De La Rosa has been the guy to whom Torey Lovullo looks to get out of situations exactly like this one. Couple of runners on. Good left-hand power hitter up there. This is a tailor-made spot for De La Rosa. Descalso, the only defender on the left-hand side. He's got to stay near third with Turner down there. Anthony Rendon, the runner at first.
And De La Rosa and the Diamondbacks need to be careful on pickoff throws to first base in this situation. With Trey Turner's speed, he's getting a pretty good secondary lead down there at third base.
There's a little bouncer to Ahmed, the shortstop, who collects that one. And De La Rosa ends the threat, but the Nationals take a 2-1 lead. For heroes, Nationals closer Sean Doolittle, the supporter of Operation Finally Home, the Southern Air Force vet in his 7th major league season. And you know what? He loves the D-backs bullpen cart. He's used it both times in this series. He saved the first 2 games, and there he is, only the 2nd player ever to use the cart. The Astros' Colin McHugh was the first. Here's Ketel Marte leading off the home half of the 4th.
And Doolittle the first to ride shotgun. McHugh rode on the back of the golf cart. Doolittle sat right up front next to the driver.
He's into it. He likes it. Got saves number 7 and 8 on the year, Thursday and Friday. Marte struck out to end the first. He's 0 for 1. 60 pitches for Steven Strasburg, 38 strikes. He's walked 1. He's got 5 strikeouts. He struck out 5 in a row, in fact. There's a high bouncer to Kendrick at second base. 1 out. Strasburg struck out the first batter, pardon me, the final batter of the first and the first batter of the third. 5 consecutive strikeouts. That'll bring up Nick Ahmed, who punched out his first time.
I wonder if the guys that drive the bullpen carts in from the bullpens get ratings, 5-star ratings. You know how they do with the Uber.
Yeah, look for us on Yelp or something. Good ride, yeah, because they won't pick you up unless you got good ratings, 4 or 5 stars. They have phones in the bullpen. Obviously, you can just call up, and I don't know if they have the Uber app on those bullpen phones.
I kind of doubt it, but you never know.
Gotta look into that, maybe. Well, the pitcher spot is due up 4th in this inning. De La Rosa got him out of a mess, and here's TJ McFarland, the left-hander, who's been sensational this year, giving Torey Lovullo some length in that bullpen. He can go 3, 4, 5 innings in relief, and has done so at different points this year. Ahmed knocks that into right field, a 1-out single. That'll bring up John Ryan Murphy, the catcher today. John Ryan making only his 8th start behind the plate this year. He homered in his previous start. That was Tuesday in a win at Dodger Stadium. He's homered 3 times this year. Jumped on that first pitch fastball. There's Brad Bond down there. Our Golden Glover working left field. Uh-oh, we got to get him a new pair of khakis. Those look a little high.
We've had some flooding in his neighborhood. You never know.
That's right. The canal. Just in case. Pitcher spot is up next. Alex Avila has come out of the on-deck circle. He would hit for De La Rosa. Ahmed advances to second. Severino's throw goes into center. Good read there by Nick Ahmed. A ball in the dirt.
Yeah, real good read by Nick. We talk about this all the time. You have to block and recover and then make an accurate throw. And if as a base runner you can read the trajectory of that pitch, you realize it's going to go into dirt, go ahead and break for second base. Great jump that time by Nick.
Severino almost threw it away. Taylor came into center, had to pick it up. So it's 1-1 on John Ryan Murphy. Ahmed at second and 1 out. Fly ball left field. Stevenson. Ahmed stays put. And now Avila will hit for the pitcher.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free crunchy beef tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Well, it's not been a soft landing for Alex Avila, who got a 2-year free agent deal to come to the Diamondbacks. 138, 2 home runs. And Alex has struck out in just under half his plate appearances this year. Punched out 3 times last night. Kendrick will back up at second. Turner, the shortstop, behind the runner Ahmed. First pitch changeup from Strasburg, 0-1. Avila had a 3-hit game at Philadelphia, including a long home run. That was April 24th. And since then he's 2 for 26 with 15 strikeouts. Another changeup. Well, it's tough to go up there, pinch hit against Steven Strasburg, and the first 2 pitches you see are changeups.
Yeah, the general consensus among pinch hitters in the National League is you swing at the first strike you see. You don't want to let that opposing pitcher get to his secondary pitches, his wipeout slider or curve or splitter or whatever it happens to be. You want to get on one of those first fastballs, but back-to-back changeups to start this sequence.
Well, Alex has always been a good on-base percentage guy, very patient hitter up there. But he's fallen behind in counts a lot this year, maybe at times a little too passive at the plate. That's been maybe the issue. Strasburg at 70 pitches, 44 for strikes. Alex feels like that's been one of the reasons for his slow start, just not putting aggressive swings on pitches he would normally hit, maybe overthinking things a bit. The leadoff man Peralta on deck. Ahmed at second and 2 outs. There's the fastball in, and it's full 3-2. And everybody in the D-backs clubhouse knows there's a reason why the D-backs wanted Alex Avila. There's a reason why they gave him a 2-year deal. He's got a proven track record. just off to a slow start in a new place, basically a new league. Just a handful of games with the Cubs last year, tail end of the season. Full count, 3-2. Got him. Went to the curveball. 6 strikeouts for Strasburg. It stays 2-1 Nationals.
Chase Field, 2-1 Nationals. Hey fans, this summer the World Cup is coming to Fox and Fox Sports 1. Every match live and over 300 hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event begins June 14th on Fox and FS1. Howie Kendrick will lead it off here for the Nationals against the new Diamondbacks pitcher, left-hander TJ McFarland.
And he has been a bullpen saver for Torey Lovullo this year. TJ has been the long man back there. He can give you 2, 3, 4, even 5 innings if need be. A 2.38 ERA, his 12th appearance. Let's go downstairs to Kate.
Well, guys, TJ has been joking this week that he's consistently used inconsistently, meaning he hasn't known exactly how many innings or what inning his number will be called upon. But like you said, he's been the backbone of this bullpen. And Torey said he's just locked in and is thankful for him being ready in any situation.
That one almost got him as Kendrick knocks it back up the box. A leadoff single, his second hit today. And I think, Bob, one of the reasons that Troy Scribner got the start today was because TJ has performed so well in this role. It's kind of a let's not mess with that thing. He's got something going back there.
And it's nice to know you have TJ McFarland available to piggyback behind Troy Scribner just in case he runs up against it and can't get deep enough into the ball game to use your bullpen in an orderly fashion. This is the guy to eat up the innings.
You can see right behind Josh Hader of the Brewers in terms of innings by a reliever. Stevenson gets a bunt down. Murphy's on it, and they move up Kendrick. That'll bring up Michael A. Taylor, who struck out twice against Scribner.
How about for Troy Scribner? He had 4 strikeouts in his outing today. 2 of Andrew Stevenson and 2 of Michael A. Taylor, the guy hitting right behind him in the lineup. Got him back to back.
In the second and the third, Scribner struck out 4. He walked 6. And here's your amazing stat of the day. Of those 6 walks issued by Troy Scribner, none scored.
How about that? 3 2/3 innings, walked 6 batters, and none of them come around to score.
TJ McFarland is a pitch to contact guy. He's a very effective ground ball pitcher, and usually when he gives up a base hit, it's a ground ball through the infield. Behind on Taylor, 2-0.
When TJ McFarland is at his best, the top of the kneecaps is the top of his strike zone. He throws everything from the knees down. Some sinking action on the fastball, little slider, gets a lot of ground balls.
Here's Mike Butcher, the D-backs pitching coach. Souza will have to play that on a hop. He'll stop Kendrick at third.
We could use one of those ground balls right now with Pedro Severino making his way to the plate.
And you have to watch Taylor. 10 stolen bases this year. He's only been caught once. Severino has walked, singled, and scored a run. Strasburg is the on-deck hitter. 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Down the right field line and out of play. Talking about how TJ McFarland is able to give the D-backs some length when they've needed it back there. Diamondbacks last season really had 3 guys that could do that. You had Randall Delgado, who they really miss in their bullpen. And for the first 2 months of last year, Archie Bradley was the long man. He didn't really become a 8th inning setup guy until the middle of the year. So last year you had 3 guys that could give you multiple innings. Now you've only got 1. And as a result, that's put a big strain on this bullpen, especially the middle relief. Guys like Fernando Salas and Jorge De La Rosa have to get overworked a bit. We've seen minor leaguers come and go. Silvino Bracho, Jake Barrett. There's Delgado on the right. They really miss him. He's been out with elbow trouble all year long. Fernando Salas has had to work double duty lately, starting to wear down a bit. Severino gets the bunt down. McFarland coming home, and they've got Kendrick at the plate.
I'm not sure if Severino did that on his own or it was just a poorly executed safety squeeze. Howie Kendrick got a real late jump off third base. That was a relatively easy play at the plate right there.
And now you've got 2 on and 2 out with a pitcher up there, Strasburg. Apparently with a pitcher coming up behind him, just playing for 1 run there.
Well, that Joe Madden school, the 1st and 3rd safety squeeze. We know how much Madden liked to use that in Tampa and also in Chicago with the Cubs. Dave Martinez from that Joe Madden tree just wasn't executed properly. Ball bunted hard right back to the mound, and the runner at third got a late break.
Dave Martinez was Joe Madden's bench coach for about a decade in Tampa Bay and Chicago. Well, you still have to retire Strasburg, and McFarland's behind 2-0. If the Nationals win this game, they will win the series. They're playing 4 here. They've won the first 2. And if that happens, it will be the first time all season the Diamondbacks have lost a series. Another fastball at the knees, and he's back even 2-2. Trey Turner would be next. Here go the one runner. Taylor breaks for third, but Strasburg strikes out. McFarland gets out of a miss. And we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. The freight train. David Peralta leads it off for the D-backs. Chase Field, downtown Phoenix. The Nationals lead the Diamondbacks 2-1, set for the home half of the 5th inning. Fans, download the Coors Light XP Rewards app today for your chance to earn one of many unique D-backs experiences like this group did. They earned XP and claimed the dugout box tonight. Download the Coors Light XP Rewards app, sign up and earn. It's that easy. It's a nice seat down there.
Oh, yeah.
Right below the field.
Can't get much closer to the action than that.
And you'll see Peralta, Descalso, and Goldschmidt 1, 2, and 3 in the Arizona 5th against Steven Strasburg, who's finishing up his warm-up tosses, and we're set to go. Strasburg so far has walked 1. He's struck out 6. The only run of the game for the Diamondbacks. A 2-out walk to Goldie, an RBI double by A.J. Pollock. That was in the 3rd. Peralta has singled and struck out. He's 1 for 2. Oh, the dreaded check swing. I didn't mean to do that. Foul ball strike.
Yeah, the ball just happened to find his bat that time on the check swing. We talk about it all the time. That's one of the more frustrating things that can happen to a hitter because you feel like you really got cheated. You didn't even get a full swing at it.
Pull a Tanya Harding and see if they'll let you start over. Deep to center. Taylor's there. 1 out in the 5th. Here's Descalso, who has singled and grounded out. Descalso in his last 18 games is hitting just over .360. 10 extra base hits over that stretch, so he's in the 2-hole here today against Strasburg. D-backs are hopeful that Jake Lamb will be recovered from the shoulder and elbow trouble in time to join them for the next road trip. It's a long one. They're at the Mets, the Brewers, and the Oakland A's, a 3-city tour. Lamb's played only 4 games all year, but he's been working out full boat, as Torrey likes to say, here this week. Running, hitting, throwing, doing everything, and so far so good. Jake says he feels great, so they're hopeful he'll be back next week. But if he comes back and does just what Descalso's been doing, I mean, it's kind of almost a wash the way Daniels hit the ball.
Well, for Jake Lamb, as you mentioned, full boat, going through the entire pregame routine, taking batting practice, taking his ground balls, running the bases. All that's well and good, but it's a very controlled situation.
Right.
That's why you want to send him out on some kind of a rehab assignment where you get a little adrenaline flowing. You've got an opponent out there that's trying to get you out. You got another offense that may be bunting on you. You get to really experience the full game under game conditions.
There's Torey Lovullo. One of his trademark conversations, 1-on-1 with Nick Ahmed there, 1-2. We talk about that all the time with Torey Lovullo. That's essentially how he manages a lot of individual 1-on-1 FaceTime conversations right there in the dugout in the office.
Yeah, Torrey's like the gatekeeper too. Every time a guy goes up to the on deck circle, you have to walk right past him.
And you might not even talk about baseball. Might be something else. He'll strike up a conversation with you. We've seen him do that many times, wearing a Fox Sports Arizona microphone for us.
You see A.J. Pollock right there, just to Torrey's right, to the left of your screen. He's the scheduled hitter after Paul Goldschmidt, but many times we've seen that in the hole hitter just stand there and talk to the skipper for an entire at bat before going up into the on deck circle.
Full count on Descalso, 3-2. Well, Goldie is the on deck hitter here. And for Paul Goldschmidt, he has now gone 99 plate appearances without a home run. His last homer, April 15th. So the next time up is 100. Still 3-2 on Descalso. Got him on a curveball. 7 strikeouts for Strasburg.
Hey fans, you can receive 15% off at the Chase Field Team Shop when you use the card by Gila River Casinos.
So here is Goldie. He's reached on a fielder's choice, walked and scored the D-backs' only run. Came home on a Pollock RBI double in the 3rd. His last homer, April 15th at Dodger Stadium. And that was 99 plate appearances ago. That's the way we've seen Goldie look a lot. He got a curveball there and he kind of buckled a little bit, and he's really seemed, I think the best word, Bob, might be indecisive at times, sort of in between, like we talked about earlier.
You know, and I wouldn't call Paul Goldschmidt a guess hitter because he does his homework. He looks at the video, he studies the charts of opposing pitchers, and he will come up with a game plan and look for certain pitches in certain counts, but he just hasn't gotten those pitches.
8 strikeouts for Strasburg. He leads it 2-1.
That last at bat, a microcosm of what he's gone through recently. Fouled off a real hittable fastball, took a curveball for a strike, and then chased one out of the zone. Our Nationwide Vision Center's eye on the game. That kind of sums up the last couple of weeks for Paul Goldschmidt.
Trey Turner leads off the 6th inning for Washington. It's just been that kind of May for Goldie. Now 3 for 40 in May. Turner has singled, scored a run, and walked. And he's 1 for 2. TJ McFarland, see the reason why he gets so many ground balls. Everything is down, down, down for the most part. A little too much this time. He's behind 3-1 with Harper on deck.
Ooh, that backswing took the mask right off the face of John Ryan Murphy there. Trey Turner really extending on his backswing and catches Murphy right on the edge of the mask that time. Ooh.
Didn't even phase him. Spiked a fastball there, leadoff walk. That's the 7th walk today issued to Washington batters. Bryce Harper, an RBI double and a base on balls. He's 1 for 2. Harper hitting just over 180 versus lefties this year. Does have 2 home runs against left-handers. Turner, 12 stolen bases aboard at first over there. They'll keep him close if they can.
This is one reason why I do not like Bryce Harper in the 2 spot. When Trey Turner gets on base, you want your number 2 hitter to take some pitches and give him a chance to pick a pitch and try to steal second base and get himself in scoring position. If I'm the manager, I don't want Bryce Harper taking anything. If he likes it, swing at it.
Take it all the way there. Well, they're still without, of course, Adam Eaton, Daniel Murphy, guys who might hit in the 2 spot if they were healthy. Murphy still recovering from microfracture surgery in his knee last October. Hasn't played all year. Although he was down here yesterday doing some running on the field, running up and down the first baseline. There he is. So they're starting to get a little bit optimistic. Took some ground balls at second base as well, Daniel Murphy. Surgery on that right knee last fall. There's Kevin Long, the hitting coach, with Dave Martinez. Harper knocks that one into right center field. Turner, with his speed, easily gets in at third. First and third, no outs to start the Washington 6th.
Harper with that big leg kick gets a fastball just about belt high over the middle of the plate. Lined into center field for a knock. And you mentioned it, Trey Turner with that speed going first to third is a piece of cake.
Yeah, he's on his whole own level in terms of speed out there. So Harper aboard for the 3rd time today. Here's Rendon, who had an RBI fielder's choice. His last time up, he walked in the 1st. Slider missed away, 1-0.
This is where TJ McFarland's at a little bit of a disadvantage. We've talked about him being a ground ball pitcher, heavy sinker, heavy slider, everything down, down, down. Even a ground ball double play right now will score a run for the Nationals.
Especially with that guy at third.
And obviously you'd love to see a strikeout right here to set up a potential inning-ending double play with big Matt Adams in the on-deck circle.
Well, even there, TJ gave Rendon a 2-0 fastball, but kept it down for a foul ball. Adams on deck. He's walked twice today. Murphy sets up inside. Harper going on first move. They got him hung up. Got to keep an eye on Turner down there. And they eliminate Harper at first.
Harper just guessed wrong right there. Went on first movement, tries to get hung up in the rundown long enough to allow Turner to score, but Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, did exactly what you're supposed to do. Run hard at that runner, apply the tag quickly, and then check the runner at third base.
So it's Turner at third now, 1 out, and a 2-1 count on Anthony Rendon. And now you've got the lefty on deck. First base open, infield is in for the D-backs, but if you lose Rendon here, you've got lefty on lefty with 1 out and a ground ball pitcher out there. Got the call from Doug Eddings, and it's full 3-2.
Just off that outside corner with a little tailing action. Very generous call that time by Doug Eddings.
Right to short. Ahmed coming home. Hey, got him. Well, Nick Ahmed taking care of business out there at shortstop in this inning. He tagged out Harper in the rundown and cuts down Turner at the plate.
And Turner off on contact. Fortunately, the ball hit pretty hard to Nick. He's able to unleash that throw to John Ryan Murphy as Turner tried to slide way wide of the plate and reach out with the left hand. But nowhere to go. Nice play.
Dave Martinez will check in with Doug Eddings here.
This could be a blocking the plate violation, or at least in the eyes of Dave Martinez and the Nationals. They feel maybe Murphy was blocking the baseline. He's up in front of the plate. I think the throw took him into that stance in the baseline. If the throw leads you into the baseline, you're entitled to go to the baseline.
That's home plate collision rule 7-1-3, the old Buster Posey rule, which was put in place several years ago. Managers can challenge that.
It looked more like Dave Martinez just wanted to get an explanation from the crew chief, Joe West, and apparently got the answers he was looking for and heads on back to that first base dugout.
There's Chip Hale, the bench coach, talking things over with Turner. And now it's Matt Adams up there with Rendon at first and 2 outs.
Well, as I mentioned, the throw to John Ryan Murphy kind of led him into the baseline, and if you're the runner in that particular situation and the catcher is led into the baseline by the throw, you're perfectly entitled to level him at home plate. That time Trey Turner tried to go around with the head first slide, and John Ryan Murphy didn't let him in.
Well, Adams grounded out against the lefty De La Rosa to win the 4th, and now he faces the left-hander TJ McFarland. And that throw from Nick was a little high too. He thought for a moment Turner with that speed might sneak in there, but there was nowhere for him to go. Fastball's low, and it's 2-1 on Matt Adams. He's walked twice and grounded out, 0 for 1. 4 for 14 this year against left-hand pitching. This is belted to right. Souza. Oh, Steven Souza Jr. runs it down. Well, TJ McFarland got all kinds of help from his defenders in that inning. It stays 2-1 Washington. Bottom 6 here at Chase Field. Nationals lead the Diamondbacks 2-1. How about this defense from Steven Souza Jr. in right field? Chaz Roberts, air conditioning and plumbing, cool play of the game.
Just on a dead sprint from his position in right field to get over near that foul line. Never broke stride, had to make a long reach to get to that ball.
He's on deck. A.J. Pollock leads off the D-backs 6th inning. And A.J., in his last 5 plate appearances against Steven Strasburg, has hit for the cycle. The first 3 coming at Nationals Park April 27th when he homered, singled, and tripled against Strasburg. He's been hit by a pitch and doubled, and he gets a hold of one right here. Oh, Taylor runs it down, deepest part of the ballpark. Boy, he has got Steven Strasburg's number, A.J. Pollock.
Michael Taylor, great speed out there in center field, able to get back to the spot just as he crashes into the wall out there in front of the Ram Trucks pool area. Thought AJ had one right there, didn't miss it by much.
Souza's flied out twice. He's 0 for 2. Good slider there from Strasburg. Souza 3 for 23 as a Diamondback. Acquired from Tampa Bay in the offseason. Missed the first month of the season with a right pectoral strain. Suffered on a diving catch attempt in spring training.
Well, you know, partner, everybody loves offense in this game. It's fun to watch guys swing the bat and hit the ball hard, but we just saw 2 really good defensive plays, one by Steven Souza Jr. in right field and one by Michael A. Taylor in center field for the last 2 outs of this game. Run prevention. It's kind of a fancy way of saying keeping the other team off the board, but we're seeing it all over the field here in this series.
And the Diamondbacks in particular, with the way the offense has struggled, have really relied on run prevention, pitching and defense to win some games. skied along the right field line. Long run for Bryce Harper. Look out for Matt Adams over there. That's 7 straight retired by Strasburg.
Long run for Bryce Harper. He knows that big first baseman is roaming out there somewhere in the vicinity. He makes the catch and goes to a knee to make sure he doesn't crash into the big first baseman.
Here's Ketel Marte, who has struck out, grounded out, 0 for 2. Marte has 2 hits in the series. He hit a triple off Max Scherzer here last night to the deep right center field. Switch hitter looks at strike 1. That's hard hit and into right center. A 2-out single for Ketel Marte. Takes the big turn, and Nick Ahmed is the hitter. Just the 5th hit for the D-backs against Strasburg. Ahmed has struck out and single. Changeup got away from Strasburg. His high pitch count for the year is 109. That came in his win at San Diego on Monday. Strasburg has been pitching fairly deep into most of his starts this year. He's completed at least 7 innings 4 times, including 3 of his last 4 starts. Another changeup, 1-1.
Strasburg's spot is due up 5th in the top half of the 7th inning. I think it kind of depends on what the Diamondbacks do here in the rest of this 6th inning. If they're able to somehow cash that run in from first base and tie the game, you'll probably see a pinch hitter for Strasburg's spot.
Front door slider that time, 1-2. Two runs on 7 hits for Washington. They've left 11 base runners on. 1 run on 5 hits for Arizona. They've left 5.
And the Nationals have had 2 guys thrown out at home plate besides the 11 left on base.
There's a chopper in the hole. Rendon in front of Turner. And Strasburg is through 6 with a 2-1 lead. Side in downtown Phoenix, cool and comfortable inside Chase Field, where the Nationals lead the D-backs. Tuesday night on FS1, the Cardinals take on Brian Dozier, and the Minnesota Twins. Coverage starts 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. You can stream it live on Fox Sports Go. Howie Kendrick leads off the Washington 7th against TJ McFarland, out there for his 3rd inning of relief. Kendrick has singled twice, 2 for 3. He's now hit safely in 5 straight games and 14 of his last 18. 296 on the year. This is one of those guys that gets out of bed in the morning and hits. Before he's even had the cup of coffee, just hits. Back in Washington, where he finished up last season after a trade deadline deal from the Phillies. He got a 2-year $7 million contract to come back to DC, and he's done an outstanding job holding down the fort at second base without Daniel Murphy.
He's one of those guys. I mean, somebody's getting him out. He's having a very respectable season, hitting .288 going into play today, but we gave you the numbers against the Diamondbacks. We just can't get this guy out.
Crushes us, always has. Sky high pop up third base side to Scalzo, coming over near the mound now. And that's the first out here in the 7th. Andrew Stevenson now. He struck out twice, laid down a nice sacrifice bunt his last time up. Former 2nd round pick out of LSU by the Nationals 3 years ago. Nationals have stranded 11 base runners in this game. They've drawn 7 walks. None of those walks have scored. Look at the quick glove hand by Nick Ahmed. He is putting on a defensive show at shortstop here today.
That was a double ooh. Ooh the first time it sailed by TJ McFarland's head, and ooh the second time as Nick Ahmed makes a tremendous play out there in the middle of the field. Took a big hop. He had to come up and snare it off to his left side. Easy throw across for the out.
There are guys in the Stanley Cup playoffs that don't have glove hands that good. Michael A. Taylor. Nick's a Boston guy. Looked like Gilles Gilbert on that one. Taylor singled his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Fastball away. 1-2. TJ looking for his first 1-2-3 inning this afternoon. Came on to start the 5th. He's had traffic around him all day long.
Michael Taylor, a very blessed young man. He has obvious physical skills, things he can do on a baseball field, and he looks like he's 12 years old.
I was just thinking that. Babyface young man. He's 27, just turned 27 in March. Oh, he gets the low strike call from Doug Eddings. That was below the knees. We stretch in Phoenix. It's 2-1 Nationals.
Low out of the zone, a changeup away out of the zone, another fastball away and down, another changeup off the plate away, and then finishes him with a fastball that didn't quite catch the bottom of the zone there. 391-mile-an-hour fastballs and 283-mile-an-hour changeups to get the strikeout.
Hard to blame Michael A. Taylor for being upset there. Nationwide Vision Centers gives us our eye on the game. A look at that last at bat as John Ryan Murphy leads off the home half of the seventh. Steven Strasburg back out there. Murphy has struck out and lined out to left. He's 0 for 2. Pitcher spot is behind Murphy, and Chris Owings is out in the on deck circle. John Ryan Murphy's been a productive bat for a team that could really use one right now. He's hit safely in each of his last 6 starts. 9 hits in his last 6 starts, including 3 home runs. This is only his 8th start this year behind the plate. D-backs carrying 3 catchers with Murphy, Alex Avila, and Jeff Mathis. But Murphy, when he's behind the plate as the starter, is hitting over .320 this year. Strasburg now at 100 pitches, 66 for strikes. As we mentioned before, his season high is 109. Lays off a breaking ball, and it's 2-2. Bullpen will get busy for Dave Martinez. The Valley native Sammy Solis, the left-hander. We saw him in the first game of this series Thursday night. Bounced a curveball up there, and Murphy's worked it full 3-2. Owings set to hit for McFarland. Yoshi Hirano has started throwing the D-backs bullpen. Got him on a curveball. 9 strikeouts for Strasburg.
It's a slower breaking ball from Steven Strasburg down low in the zone. You got to protect that plate. It looked close enough in John Ryan Murphy's eyes. Take a hack at it, just couldn't come up with it.
So Chris Owings will bat for the pitcher. 212 and 2 homers. He got the start in right field last night. He was 0 for 4. That curveball got away. 1-0. Owings 1 for 5 as a pinch hitter. He opened the season red hot at the plate, a 9-game hitting streak right after opening day, but since April 10th, CO is hitting .135. There's that slow curveball. 1-1.
Yeah, we call it a slow curveball at 83 to 85 miles an hour. Most pitchers' curveball is in the high 60s to low 70s.
Everything's relative when you've got a 98-mile-an-hour fastball in your back pocket.
Isn't that the truth?
A curveball along the line. Foul ground first base side. Adams really had to run a long way to get that one. 2 outs. Here's the leadoff man, Peralta. Dave Martinez has his left-hander Sammy Solis ready. He's going to check in with Doug Eddings, and we may be looking at a double switch here. We'll sort it out when we come back from Phoenix. Nationals have a 2-1 lead. Steven Strasburg done after 6 2/3 here. They walked one. He had 9 strikeouts, gave up only 1 run on 5 hits.
How about Strasburg walks one opposing batter, Paul Goldschmidt, back in the 3rd inning. He came around to score on the A.J. Pollock double. Diamondbacks pitchers have walked 7, and none of them have scored.
This MLB season, get the baseball game that'll have you wanting to play it again. RBI Baseball 18, an all-new franchise mode and much more. RBI Baseball 18 available now. RBIGame.com. The left-hander Sammy Solis, the Valley native, out of Agua Fria High School in Avondale here in Arizona. And he's on to face David Peralta. Matt Adams handcuffs that one at first, and Solis ends the 7th. We head to the 8th inning. Washington leads the D-backs 2-1. D-backs 2-1. The Nats return home Tuesday, an 8-game homestand at Nationals Park against the Yankees, Dodgers, and Padres. See Harper, Rendon, Turner, and more in Washington, D.C. Check out Nationals.com for your Nats tickets. New pitcher for the D-backs as we start the 8th inning. The right-hander Yoshihisa Hirano, his 19th appearance of the year. Good fastball and a wicked split finger pitch, a 2.65 ERA. D-backs gave Hirano a long-time closer in Japan, a 2-year $6 million deal in December, and he's proved to be a very, very excellent acquisition. There's the splitter. Big swing and a miss by Pedro Severino. I think he agrees. That was pretty good. Hirano, 11 seasons in Japan's Pacific League with the Oryx Buffaloes. 143 saves over the last 5 years. He's been a 7th, 8th inning setup guy here for Torey Lovullo. Last year, 29 saves and a 2.67 ERA, just under 60 appearances. This is hit deep to left center field. AJ's over there. 1 out of the 8th.
This is one thing I did not know, talking about Yoshihisa Hirano. Back in 2011, he won Most Valuable Middle Reliever honors. You know, we see starting pitchers get the Cy Young and relief pitchers get the Fireman of the Year award, but middle relievers, they get very little recognition. I'm surprised they have that award.
Well, they turned him into a closer after that, but maybe we should think about something like that. Call it the Brenly Award, something.
Yeah.
There's Wilmer Defoe. Double switched into the ball game when they brought in Sammy Solis. Defoe now batting ninth and playing second. Howie Kendrick moved out to left field, replacing Andrew Stevenson, so the pitcher spot is now sixth in the Washington order. Defoe hitless in the series. Carved that one foul, and it's 1-1. Defoe, a switch hitter. He's 286 from the left side, where he's homered twice. Splitter leaves it up. 1-2. Hirano typically pitches along with Archie Bradley when the D-backs have a lead. But they haven't had a whole lot of leads lately. They just can't score. Another one-run game so far. This is on the ground. Funny hop for Ketel Marte. Diamondbacks lost the opener here Thursday night 2-1. They lost last night 3-1, and they trail this one today 2-1. The offense has vanished. Here's Turner, who has singled, scored a run, and walked twice. He's 1 for 2. Max Scherzer took care of the offense last night. Scherzer went 7 innings, had 11 strikeouts. And at one point in that game last night, Scherzer retired the last 15 he faced. Gave up a home run by David Peralta to lead off the third inning, and did not allow another base runner.
Yeah, that home run by Peralta just poked the bear,
didn't it? And Scherzer had a big day himself at the plate. He had an RBI double and a single. 2 for 3. Hirano ahead 0-2. Put that in a pretty good spot. Doug Eddings didn't bite. 1-2.
Hirano's been a big part of that bullpen, as you mentioned, along with Archie Bradley and Brad Boxberger when they have a lead late. The entire bullpen, however, through the first month of the season up until April 28th, the best ERA in all of baseball, 1.62.
Big reason why they've got the best record in the National League. That bullpen has been outstanding, but they've had to work awfully hard lately, and more often than not in high leverage situations, close games like this. Trailing 2-1, up 2-1.
Yeah, a 1.62 ERA up until April 28th. Since then, it's 4. Raises the overall ERA to 2.42, which is still very respectable, but they were so dominant early. But I think you're absolutely right about the workload starting to catch up.
1-2 on Trey Turner. Yoshihisa Hirano, a 1-2, 3/8. D-backs coming up. Bottom 8 at Chase Field in downtown Phoenix. Nationals lead the Diamondbacks 2-1. The action continues tomorrow in Phoenix. See the D-backs wrap up this series against Washington, followed by a 3-game set against the Milwaukee Brewers. See Goldie, AJ Pollock, and more. Visit dbacks.com/tickets. Daniel Descalso leads off the 8th. The left-hander Sammy Solis is back out there. Descalso this year 4 for 20 versus lefties. That includes 2 home runs. And you've got right-handers coming up in Goldie, Pollock, and Souza. And Sean Kelly, the right-hander, is warming up in the Washington bullpen. Henry Blanco, former D-back catcher, the pitching coach back there. There's the Solis curveball, and he's ahead 1-2. So this figures to be Solis's final batter. Fastball sail, 2-2.
You mentioned Henry Blanco, the bullpen coach for the Washington Nationals. A little tough to see as he's hiding behind the foul pole, but I'm not big on tattoos, but if I were going to get tattoos, I'd do what Henry Blanco did. He's got flames on his forearms.
Well, he was a good thrower as a catcher in his day. Kind of like a hot rod.
Boy, he was a tremendous backup catcher. I mean, he was one of those guys that knew he was going to play once a week, maybe twice a week, maybe come in as a defensive replacement late or part of a double switch, but man, could he catch and throw.
Check swing on the 2-2. No, he didn't go, says Joe West. Joe West doesn't even make the safe sign. He just goes, leave me alone.
Didn't mean to bother you, Joe.
Yeah. Get off my lawn. Full count, 3-2. Change up, and Descalso strikes out. That'll bring up Paul Goldschmidt.
You don't see a lot of left-handed pitchers that'll throw a changeup to a left-handed hitter, but that's exactly what Solis attacked Daniel Descalso with right there to strike him out.
Dave Martinez has Sean Kelly ready for these right-handers. He's on his way in. Nationals have a 2-1 lead on the Diamondbacks, bottom of the 8th inning. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. The late game tomorrow. Former D-back Jeremy Hellickson has been a nice acquisition for Washington. Takes on the Bulls, Zach Godley.
That'll be an interesting matchup. Zach Godley learned the curveball that he's throwing right now for the Diamondbacks from Jeremy Hellickson when Jeremy was a member of the Diamondbacks.
And he's got a good one. Here's Goldie. Walked and scored in the third. 0 for 2. Fouls the first pitch back from Sean Kelly. It was on and off the DL 3 times last year for Washington. This year, his 10th appearance. Goldie got a very hittable fastball there and fouled it back. That's the way things have gone lately. Now 100 plate appearances without a home run. Swing and a miss, another fastball. 0-2. It's been a difficult month of May for Paul Goldschmidt, as we mentioned earlier. As of right now, he is 3 for 40 in May. That's foul in front of Tony Perez-Chica coaching at third. Brad Bond collects it down there.
You know, we kind of joke about it, and I'm not insinuating by any stretch of the imagination that this is Goldie's issue, but back in the day, if a guy went into an extended slump like Goldie's in, they'd send you to the eye doctor. First thing you check is, are you seeing okay?
And the only reason we say that is because that's been so baffling. He's just swinging it, missing at fastballs that he normally crushes. It's not like he's chasing a whole bunch of pitches outside the strike zone. Still happens from time to time. It happened earlier in the game, in fact, but for the most part, it's been the hittable fastballs on which he swung and missed.
And in Goldie's defense, not that he needs me to defend him, but the balls that he has put into play, he's hit hard. He's lined out to right field a couple times, hit some long fly balls to straightaway center field, just missing.
Yeah, every time you think, even on one of those loud outs, okay, that's the at bat that will turn it around. And when Goldie's at his best, he's driving the ball to right center field. It just never pans out that way, and the slump is extended here for most of this month.
I thought maybe the at bat against Sean Doolittle last night when he got a high fastball 0-2 and ripped it into left field. Thought maybe that would be the one to get him going.
3-2 from Sean Kelly. He bounced a slider up there, and the Diamondbacks have the tying run aboard with 1 out in the 8th inning. And A.J. Pollock coming up. Second walk for Goldie today. Pollock has knocked in their only run, an RBI double in the 3rd. That one followed a 2-out walk to Goldschmidt. A.J. the cleanup hitter. He's been the big RBI man.
A.J. maybe the only Diamondbacks hitter that was sad to see Steven Strasburg lead the game.
Boy, he is all over Strasburg. That's why he got plunked in the wall at his first time up today. Tying run at first, 1 out. Paul Goldschmidt is an excellent base runner. He's probably the best base runner on the Diamondbacks. And he will run on you. Dave McKay coaching down there at first.
He scored from first base on A.J.'s double back in the 3rd inning. We've seen him do that numerous times over the years. Cuts the corners so well. Sneaky fast for a big guy.
And a reminder for those of you watching us on FS1, we will get you to NASCAR race day from Kansas immediately following the conclusion of our game here today. So NASCAR is coming up. Chafin and Boxberger ready in the D-back bullpen. 1-0 to A.J. Pollock. Got that fastball in. 1-1.
A.J. loves that ball middle of the plate in. Of his 11 homers this year, 8 of them have been hit to straightaway left field.
Counting today, 21 RBIs in his last 22 games.
Well, you know Paul Goldschmidt is not going to catch the Nationals by surprise with Chip Hale as Dave Martinez's bench coach. Chip Hale used to give him the green light as the manager of the Diamondbacks. He is well aware of what Goldie's capable of doing.
Foul ground, first base side. Adams drifting over there, and it's in the seats. Well, the Diamondbacks offense continues to struggle. 1 run on 8 hits here Thursday. 1 run on 5 hits here last night. And it's been more of the same today for Torey Lovullo. Center field, right at Taylor. 2 outs.
Partner, I can't help but think back to my playing days under Frank Robinson with the San Francisco Giants, and we were going through a similar offensive funk that the Diamondbacks are going through right now. Just couldn't seem to score more than 1 run in a ball game, so Frank called a team meeting one day in the clubhouse and aired out the pitchers. You guys know we can't hit. You can't afford to give up any runs. I need to see some shutouts. I need to see some complete games. We were all shocked, to say the least.
Well, did it inspire the offense?
Not so much.
Well, it was a good effort.
Good
anyway.
effort, though, yeah.
At least Frank got some angst out of his system. There's Steven Souza Jr. looks at ball 1. He's 0 for 3. He's flying out all 3 times. Well, there was the day that Billy Martin had Reggie Jackson pick the lineup out of a hat one day for the Yankees. I don't think Torey Lovullo's quite reached that point.
Teams have tried all kinds of different things. One time with the Giants, we put the 9 bats of the starting players in a bat bag and just reached in one at a time and pulled them out. Here's yours. Here's yours. A couple guys got their own bat, luck of the draw, but a lot of us had to use bats we were not familiar with, but we were hitting so badly, I guess it didn't matter.
And here, with one or 2 exceptions, it's been a team-wide epidemic. Takes a low fastball.
My son Michael was the bat boy back in 2001, and we went into a couple of funks that year too, and he used to come out before the ball game and take all the bats out of the rack and lay them out in the sunshine, trying to heat them up.
Well, this is the place to do that. The Valley of the Sun. Roof and outfield panels closed today. 2 balls and 1 strike on Steven Souza Jr. Sliders bounced up there, and it's 3-1. Ketel Marte, the on-deck hitter. Souza looking for his first big hit as a Diamondback. He's 3 for 24 so far, all singles. This would be the moment.
Well, not to get ahead of ourselves here, there are 2 outs in the inning, but if Souza can find a way to reach, Ketel Marte's really been swinging the bat well from the left side.
There's a lazy fly ball up the right field line. Adams again, and he can't get there. And Souza's got a second life. He really had to go a long way up the line to get that one.
Yeah, that one not quite as high in the air as the one he was able to catch earlier in the inning. Just off the webbing of the glove.
Full count, 3-2. This crowd's been waiting for a big hit from this offense for a while now. D-backs have scored more than 4 runs only twice in their last 13 games. 2 outs, 3 balls, and 2 strikes to Steven Souza Jr. Here goes Goldie from first. Called strike 3. And Souza has been ejected. Another low strike called by Doug Eddings. He tossed his bat, and he's been run from the ball game. Here comes Torey Lovullo. 2-1 Washington. We hit the 9th. Game summary. Washington has a 2-1 lead. Steven Strasburg 9 strikeouts through 6 2/3. The Diamondback offense continues to struggle. Torey Lovullo is still out there talking to Doug Eddings and the crew chief Joe West. Steven Souza Jr., who was ejected from the ball game, literally just walked off the field about 10 seconds ago. That argument continued throughout the commercial break, and now Gerard Dyson replaces Souza in right field.
Yeah, no doubt Souza was upset with that called third strike, and he just went to flip his bat toward the on-deck circle. I think his argument was it just stuck to the pine tar. Ooh. Ready to take off his ankle guard. He went to throw it back to the dugout, and the pine tar stuck to his hand, and that was it for Doug Eddings.
And Doug Eddings and Joe West, to their credit, let Souza have his say. They had a very long discussion about it. Everybody remained calm, but Steven Souza Jr. was definitely heard from there. But he's been tossed from the ball game, and now Andrew Chafin, the left-hander, is on for the D-backs. And Bryce Harper leads off the Nationals' ninth.
Yeah, some bookkeeping issues there. I believe that the pitcher will go in Steven Souza Jr.'s spot, the 5-hole in the lineup, and Gerard Dyson Jr. Gerard Dyson will go into the pitcher spot, the 9-hole.
So here's Chafin, the left-hander, his 19th appearance, and a 2.19 ERA. Here's Harper, who's hitting just over 180 versus lefties this year. He has doubled, singled, and walked. He's got an RBI as well. Along the left field line, David Peralta has room.
Long run once again for David. He knows he's getting close to that barrier. He alters his route to the ball and able to make the play right as he makes contact with the wall. Nicely done.
Here's Anthony Rendon. Rendon had an RBI fielder's choice in the fourth. He walked back in the first. He's 0 for 3. (2-1) Washington, 9th inning. Ryan Madson has started warming up in the Nationals bullpen. Sean Doolittle, their closer, saved the first 2 games here. Doolittle threw 11 pitches Thursday night, 17 pitches last night. Saves number 7 and 8 on the year for him. And so it looks like Madson gets the 9th. 0-2 on Rendon. Diamondbacks coming up will have Ketel Marte, Nick Ahmed, and John Ryan Murphy due up 6, 7, and 8. And Dyson behind that, the new right fielder. So Washington here looking for its 13th win in 17 games. They would get to 5 over 500 if the Nats can hang on. They started play today only a game and a half behind Atlanta for the NL East lead. Atlanta just underway at Miami, no score.
Now for Andrew Chafin, has been a little bit of a struggle over his last 4 appearances. He's faced a total of 7 opposing batters, walked 4 of them, gave up 2 hits.
One of 3 left-handers in the bullpen for Torey Lovullo. And we've seen all 3 here today. De La Rosa, McFarland, now Chafin. There's Ketel Marte. 2 outs.
Right in the right spot. You see shaded up the middle of the field just a little bit. Has to move a step or 2 to his left to make that leaping catch. And his lefty appreciates it.
They'll put the shift on for Matt Adams, who has walked twice, grounded out, lined out. He's 0 for 2. Nationals hitters have drawn 7 walks in the game today. None of them scored. They've left 11 men on base. That's belted to Marte. There he is. Bottom 9 on the way. Diamondbacks down 1. Ketel Marte leads off the home half of the 9th inning against the new pitcher for Washington, Ryan Madson. 2 for 4 to save opportunities this year. Madson got 4 outs in the series opener Thursday night through 23 pitches. A reminder for those of you watching on FS1, we will get you to NASCAR race day from Kansas as soon as our ball game here ends. No outs, bottom 9. NASCAR coming up on FS1. Madson, when he came in the game Thursday, walked Ketel Marte in the 9th inning. And he's behind here 2-1.
In his previous 19 games, Madson in non-save situations, a 1.32 ERA. The 4 times he's had a save opportunity, the ERA jumps up to 18.90.
2-2 on Marte. Madson got his first save this year against the Braves back on April 10th. 2 saves and 4 opportunities. Ahmed on deck, Murphy in the hole. Wilmer Defoe at second, bobbles the ball, and the tying runs aboard. Defoe double switched into the ball game, replaced Howie Kendrick over there, and Marte's on to start the 9th.
Yeah, right up the heel of the glove, got far enough away to allow Marte to reach. That's a start. 4th error of the season for Wilmer Defoe.
Here's Nick Ahmed, who singled in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 3. Tying run at first, nobody out. Winning runs at the plate. Rendon running in from 3rd. 0-1 on Ahmed. D-back shortstop. Long look down to third base. Tony Perez-Chica flashing the signs. There's the Nationals defense. Rendon still on the dirt at third base. Here he comes. Ahmed bunts at first base side. Madsen's got it, and Marte's in scoring position. John Ryan Murphy. Murphy 0 for 3, struck out twice against Strasburg.
Diamondbacks in this series against the Nationals 1 for 16 with runners in scoring position. Definitely need to turn that around.
They've left 7 on base today. Oh, 0-1. Murphy, the number 8 hitter up there. Dyson on deck. Ketel Marte, the tying run at second base, 1 out. Got a fastball right down Main Street, 0-2. Almost threw that fastball into the backstop. Severino gets out there. Caught looking, and he strikes out. That's just off the plate.
Been a number of those pitches called today for Doug Eddings.
Well, it's up to Gerard Dyson, who's only in the game because Steven Souza Jr. was ejected by plate umpire Doug Eddings. Marte at second and 2 down. 2-1 in the 9th. First pitch changeup from Ryan Madsen. Dyson 176. He's got 2 home runs. A pair of singles in the series. NASCAR coming up on FS1. Race day from Kansas as soon as this one ends. There's a bouncer to first. Adams applies the tag, and the Nationals win this one 2-1. They've taken the first 3 games of this series. And for those of you watching on FS1, we now take you to NASCAR race day in Kansas.